After looking at the first dailies that I was shooting, I was very happy, and I couldn't wait to see the scenes cut together. I started going into the editing room on weekends to look at scenes edited together and was extremely disappointed. And so I decided to change editors. And I hired Neil Travis. And he started editing things from scratch. And suddenly scenes started to come to life.
Louis and Jan did a very good job as far as creating a mood and a tension. The only thing that I would say that I probably brought to it was a knowledge of the fact that you want to try to direct people's attention in the wrong direction in a thriller. You want to tell people to look over here, and then something jumps at them from where they're not looking.
God, you scared the shit out of me.
It's just mainly to create an atmosphere of the unexpected.
You think about all the great movies, you'll think about the music. So music is one of the 3 or 4 most important elements in the movie. And Charles came in, he's a real musician, and he has a tremendous heart.
The music in this film, I was particularly pleased with. Charles Bernstein wrote the score, and I met him after the film had been completed. And the music was all appropriate and effective. And with Charles, almost all of it worked from the get-go.
Cujo is a St. Bernard who is, as I like to say, done in by 2 bats. First by a flying bat and then by a baseball bat. Now, if you take the score to Cujo and you listen to it, 90% of it, 80% of it is very pleasant, family, emotionally warm music. And that's part of the mosaic in Cujo. The trick in Cujo, for me, was how to integrate these elements so that it doesn't sound like I've written 2 scores, one for the family and one for the evil spirit in the dog. Interestingly, if you recall the first scene, it's really very idyllic. When I scored that scene, I had not written a theme for Cujo yet. So I scored the little bunny running around and the dog chasing it and all of that. And then it wasn't until Reel 3 that I started to get a feel for what the music for Cujo should sound like, what his personality was, what that element that is the dark element was going to be. I was thinking about my friend John Williams, who's the greatest composer that I can think of, what he did with Jaws. But when I wrote Cujo, I thought, low French horns for Cujo, that's what I'll do. As I said, it was Reel 3 when the theme occurred to me. So I had to go back to the beginning of the movie and plant it on the shot when the dog first appears. I remember having a discussion with him about the music being so idyllic at the beginning that people might think they were going to watch a Disney-type movie. And so they came up with the idea of a title card, which was a swirling pool, and then the name Cujo came out. And I said, well, you know, we could use the Cujo theme over the title and let everybody know they were going to see a scary movie, and then get light, having promised them that later something will happen, and we all resonated with that idea. I also believe that one of the musical tools of fear is relentlessness. And what you have there is a kind of relentless, the dog is relentless. You know, it's not going to lose interest and go away. So it's that aspect of the dog that is absolutely primitively relentless on getting whatever it is the dog wants, which is flesh in this case. So the music basically evokes that.
I think the score was extremely contributory to the success of the movie. And sound design also.
Most of the growls in the movie are actual dog growls, a lot of which we recorded in sync when we were shooting the picture, when the dog was actually growling. Some were done in post-production and added to sweeten the soundtracks. We actually brought in a man who was very good at creating dog sounds, growls and whines. And we just went through the whole picture, and every scene with the dog, he would put in some sound effect and try to give that dog just a little bit more emotion.
What are you growling at?
And then you treat it and you slow it down or you twist it somehow in the sound work, and it comes out sounding great.
And so the sound effects of the dog and the music all would work in concert with each other.
I knew we had done some terrific things. There was no question about that. I knew that when we were shooting it. Whether the entire picture as a whole would have the emotional impact that an audience could grab onto, I wasn't really sure till I saw it with an audience.
The first time we previewed it, during the first half of the movie, they were sort of moderately interested, but in the second half of the movie, they cranked all the way up to extreme interest. And so the studio, in their infinite wisdom, said, well, why don't we cut as much footage out of the beginning as we can to get to the most exciting part quicker. And then we previewed it again, and it was real interesting because the interest level at the beginning of the film was about the same. And in the second part of the film, they didn't care as much about whether Dee survived or not. And the interest level in the second half of the movie peaked out once we put the character footage back. So that proved to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that developing characters that the audience can understand and care about is critical.
Every single person that worked on this picture, every single person in every category poured their soul into this thing. It was quite something to see. And each one of these people was a very different person. And everybody had a point of view.
Any movie that I do, it takes me about 3 times. The first time, I think my career's over. The second time, I remember all the stuff that was going on the set, you know, and all the challenges and everything. And the third time, I can sit back and go, wow, that's a pretty good ride. You know, I can look at Cujo now and go, there's not much I would do differently.
I was not traumatized at all. I was, if anything, I was extremely fascinated by the equipment, by the blood on the dogs, by the way that there was actually someone on staff whose job it was to do the paw prints on the glass and make them look like they had looked the day before. That stuff fascinates me. I've had dogs my whole life, never terrorized by the animals. If anything, I love them more. There was nothing scary about being on that set. We're just good actors. We just make you think we're freaked out.
On a sad note, Christopher Stone, who played Dee Wallace's lover, did a terrific job, and he is Dee Wallace's late husband, and he's no longer with us, and his contributions were enormous and well appreciated. I love this film. I think it's my best work. It's the most accomplished film that I've ever made. Of course, I can't take sole credit for that. Thank you, Dan Black. Thank you, Guy Comtois, the production designer. Thank you, Jan de Bont. Thank you, Dee, Daniel Hugh Kelly, Danny Pintero, and all the other people involved with the film, because they all contributed to making this a great film.